So by now, everybody has given their opinions on T.I. talking about he goes to the gynecologist with his daughter to make sure her hymen has not been disrupted. He goes to make sure that she's still a virgin. Now, everybody weighed in on this. Everybody gave their opinion on this. First and foremost, let me say, that's that man's daughter. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that's how he decides he wants to raise his daughter, then so be it. She's under his rules. She's under his authority. Now, when she hit the block running, that's going to be an issue he has to deal with at some point as well. When she moves out or goes, wherever she's going to go in this life, he has to deal with the what he's creating by acting like that. And, I even saw that Planned Parenthood released, comments towards him, letting him know that you can go get the hymen checked all you want to. That doesn't mean she's still a virgin. Not saying that she's not. I'm sure she is. I'm sure she understands. He done probably put the fear in her to, keep her virginity, keep her would be so-called purity. And instead of, trusting his daughter and educating his daughter on sex and, being safe while having sex, he chooses intimidation instead of trust. And he's going to pay for that. You know what I'm saying? I'm a father of daughters. He's going to pay for what he's doing in one way or another. He's going to pay because the psychological trauma that he's causing on her is essentially going to, is going to come down. And she going to bust that motherfucker wide the fuck open and take off running. Fuck around. You see what I'm saying? Like, and I know that people were, commenting on it and giving their opinions about it. And it is an invasion of privacy and things like that. But she's under his roof. There is no such thing as privacy. In my opinion, there is no privacy. If you live in this, live in this house, live by my rules, there is no fucking privacy. There's no way I can really be invading your privacy as a father. T.I., I have many issues with T.I. If you've been following my videos, you understand that I have many issues with T.I. But this is one of them things where, one, I didn't really give a fuck. I didn't know it become national news. I've seen it even covered on NBC News. I posted about that on my Instagram page. And the fact that it made the news was quite ridiculous. But it's created a conversation about double standards in our sons and our daughters as far as how we as parents, and particularly fathers, look at sex when it comes to our sons and daughters. There is typically a double standard. Me, I don't have such standard. I believe in education. You know what I'm saying? Like you tell your children the truth and you trust that they're going to make the right decisions as far as sex is concerned. I can't see myself going up to no gynecologist, having my daughter hymen checked, make sure it ain't been fucked with, because that's just, it's fucking stupid to me. Period. I would hope if my daughter, I'm hoping I'm creating a situation with my daughter, if she decides that she's ready for that, we have a conversation about it. We talk about it, as opposed to creating, another child, another lost child out here that is left to be educated by the block, left to be educated by his or her experiences. That to me, that's creating so many problems that we have out here when we are dealing with sexual relations of any kind. We don't talk about the shit properly. We use intimidation, typically fathers. We tell our daughters, don't do this, don't do that. And that shit don't work. I guess T.I. done took it to another level. He's like, I'm going to go to the doctor and check this pussy too. Shit, let me see what the fuck going on. But nonetheless, that shit don't work, man. It's been proven to be a failed, option, really. Like it should all be about education. Our kids should feel free to come talk to us about sex or anything else that they have going on with them. But you don't create that when you using fear, intimidation, and going up to doctors and shit like that. That's bullshit. And what if he did find out she wasn't a virgin? If he go, I don't know what the punishment would be. I don't know what he told him to cut her off. But I know there is a double standard because with our sons, a lot of fathers don't act like that with our sons. We're telling our sons to get as much pussy as he possibly can. That's what we're doing. But when it comes to our daughters, we don't want them out here getting that experience or being in a situation where they're having sex at all, so we use fear instead, and it don't work, man. And to be put very simply, again, this is his household. He can raise her however he wants to, but the consequences for his actions, I think that's what people should be talking about, as opposed to necessarily judging his actions, because he's just one father. That's how he run his. There are many other different fathers who do, other methods, and all of them are really basically failures. If it's not about education and allowing your daughter to be open with you, all of it's going to fail, because that pussy going to come open. And you just got to hope that you've created a relationship with your daughter and an openness with your daughter and your son, that they can talk to you before they even get to doing it. So you can make sure that they prepared for what's to come. Make sure that they're not only prepared mentally, but also answer their questions, the questions that they may have, and emotionally preparation, because that plays a huge part into sex, and particularly when we're dealing with our daughters having sex. We need to make sure that they're emotionally prepared as well, because we understand that, physically they're going to be prepared, because it's like a rite of passage almost at this point, but mentally and emotionally prepared as well. That is a huge part of this, and that can't come by you using fear tactics and going up to the goddamn gynecologist. That can't come with that. That comes with openness and trust and communication. That's the only way that comes. Period. That double standard is here. A lot of fathers have it. I don't believe in that, having that double standard. You have to educate both your sons and your daughters and have the same attitude with both of them, sons and daughters. It has to be about openness and communication. It has to be, or you are failing. You're failing miserably, and you will see your failure come to fruition at some point. You'll see this. But, everybody got their own way. I'm not going to judge his way. I won't do that. But I will tell parents it's better that you have an open line of communication with your children. I will tell you that. A lot of our kids are out here left to fend on their own because y'all too ashamed. Y'all too high and mighty. Y'all talking this stupid ass Jesus shit. And you're not talking about reality with your children. You're hoping that they will just never have sex. But they're surrounded by it all the time. You don't stop them from being influenced by, hell, just with social media alone. You don't stop the influence, but you want to control the action or control whether they're intrigued by it or not. I mean, they have now where you can access porn right in the palm of your hand. You can access this shit. There ain't no, anybody can do it. They got a phone. We got our kids' phones. We making sure they got, these cell phones and things like that. So you can't control what they see. You can control your job as a parent is to educate. To make sure they're not just going out here and left to fend on their own, and make sure they're mentally and emotionally prepared. It's really heavy with our daughters, but we got to make sure our sons are even mentally and emotionally prepared as well. But our daughters, that's heavy. Because a lot of women believe sex equals love, and that comes from them not having any lesson whatsoever. At all. And a lot of women that have lost their virginity, y'all can vouch for me. You can tell me if I'm talking some bullshit. You thought it was going to be on some love shit. You thought it was a special thing to give somebody your virginity, but how quickly you learn, you see. But you had to learn the hard way. You had to learn the heartbroken way. And that's one of the things that we have to make sure as fathers, that we, as parents, period, but, we're dealing with fathers, as fathers, that we make sure that our daughters are emotionally prepared and mentally prepared for the same thing. T.I., it's his way, y'all. So, come off him for raising his daughter how he want to raise his daughter. That's his goddamn daughter. Who the fuck are y'all, man? Who the fuck are y'all to tell that man what to do and how to do with his kids? That doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. If he feels this is a way to protect her virginity, then he feels it's a way to do so. Apparently, maybe so far it's worked, or maybe she had no interest in having sex anyway, and he believes that him doing that is making it work. But whatever it is, that's his way. That's his daughter. So, he'll know what type of psychological damage he caused when she talks to a therapist when she get a little older, if she's not in therapy now, Once she talks, because it's going to come out. Any trauma that parents cause on their kids, at some point it's going to spill out. Like, motherfucker, you remember you was running up at the doctor with me looking at my pussy and trying to figure out, it's going to come out at some point. We don't know how it's going to come out, but we know it's going to come out at some point. She going to fucking blow up about that shit later on at some point, And right now her hymen is the talk of the town. Like, how crazy is that? But that's how the fuck I wanted to say, man. People, y'all listen. People wild, man. People wild as fuck. And we have to, sift through all this fuckery. Who gives a fuck? That's his daughter. But the broader conversation that needs to be had here is how we are communicating with our children as far as sex is concerned, how we are preparing our children as far as sex is concerned, and that is not only them being physically ready, them also being ready emotionally and mentally. These things are paramount. These things are very important. So we need to open up the lines of communication and stop using fear mongering and fear tactics to try to control our children having sex, because that shit just don't work. That's all the fuck I wanted to say. Like, share, subscribe. Y'all hit that notification bell. Links to follow me in the description box. T-shirts, description box. Patreon, description box. Shout out Team Rob. Y'all already know what the fuck it is. I'm out.